There is a declaration so simple that many spiritual students pass it by. They learn to say, I am, and they are right to do so. I am is a great doorway. It is the beginning of spiritual identity. It is the soul standing upright and remembering that it is not a beggar, not a victim, not a frightened wanderer, but an expression of the infinite. Yet there is another declaration, just as powerful, and often even harder to speak. It is the declaration that troubles the logical mind. It is the declaration that makes the senses argue. It is the declaration that causes many sincere seekers to hesitate, because it feels too bold, too immediate, too absolute. That declaration is, I have, not, I will have, not, I am trying to have, not, I hope someday I shall have, not, when conditions improve, then I shall say I have. No, I have, present tense, now. Before the outer evidence appears, before the bank account changes, before the letter arrives, before the door opens, before the healing can be measured, before the relationship is standing before you in visible form, before the world gives you permission, I have. And already the trained mind begins to whisper its objections, but I do not have it. I can see the empty chair. I can see the unpaid bill. I can see the silence where the answer should be. I can see the condition, the diagnosis, the delay, the absence. The mind says, surely my circumstances are proof, but here is where spiritual understanding must rise with calm authority. You have confused evidence with truth. You have mistaken the temporary appearance for the eternal fact. You have looked at the shadow on the wall and called it reality. And that confusion has cost many people their peace, their courage, their expectancy, and their power of command. For as long as you wait for the visible world to change before you speak the word of possession, you remain outside the law of manifestation. You stand at the gate of your own good, waiting for someone else to open it, not realizing that the key has been in your own mouth all along. The spoken word is creative. The declared word is formative. The word spoken in faith is a seed planted in invisible substance. And when you say, I have, you are not denying the outer condition. You are recognizing a higher one. You are not pretending that the shadow is different. You are calling forth the light that dissolves it. You are not lying to your life. You are speaking from the level where life is made. This is the great reversal. The sleeping world says, see it first, then believe it. But the awakened soul learns, claim it first, then the evidence must follow. The world says, wait until the harvest is in your hands. Spirit says, bless the seed, call it good, and know that the harvest is already contained within it. The world says, be realistic. Spirit says, be spiritually accurate. For there is nothing more accurate than the word spoken from the consciousness of divine supply. By the end of this teaching, you are invited to cease being a beggar at the gates of your own inheritance. You are invited to understand that I have is not fantasy, arrogance, or self-deception. It is a spiritual claim. It is a lawful recognition. It is the soul taking its rightful place in the kingdom of divine provision. You will learn why invisible supply must be acknowledged before visible supply can appear. You will learn how your word instructs your subconscious mind, steadies your nervous system, and opens your perception to right opportunities. You will learn how to practice I have in a way that is faithful, wise, peaceful, and powerful. And most of all, you will learn to stop waiting for permission to be abundant, loved, guided, healed, and supplied. For the way is not made by fear, the way is made by faith, and faith speaks in the present tense. Most of us were raised in the religion of appearances. We were taught, directly or silently, that seeing is believing. We were taught that the outer world is the final authority. We were taught to count, measure, calculate, and then decide what is possible. If the number was low, we called it lack. If the person had not arrived, we called it loneliness. If the body had not changed, we called it defeat. If the opportunity had not appeared, we called it delay. And yet the spiritual life asks us to look deeper. It asks us to understand that the visible world is not the source. It is the result. The visible is the last chapter, not the first. The outer condition is the photograph, not the living cause. The true movement begins in the invisible. Every form begins as an idea. Every harvest begins as a seed. Every building begins as a plan. Every song begins as a silent impression. Every answer begins in the realm that the physical eye cannot see. Supply is not created when it arrives in your hand. Supply exists first in divine mind. It exists as an idea, a possibility, a prepared good, a spiritual substance waiting to be called into expression through faith, intuition, right action, and the spoken word. When you say, I have, you are not making a false statement about your physical circumstances. You are making a true statement about your spiritual supply. You are reading from a ledger that the senses cannot yet inspect. You are standing in the unseen counting house of divine intelligence and declaring, my good exists, my answer exists, my provision exists, my way exists. I receive it now. There is no lack in the infinite. There is no emptiness in divine mind. There is no crisis in the realm of God's ideas. There is only a delay in recognition. And often, that delay is created by our own speech. We keep saying, I do not have. We keep rehearsing absence. We keep describing the empty place. We keep giving the condition a name, a history, a throne, and a crown. Then we wonder why the condition remains. Words are not idle sounds. They are directions given to the invisible. A fearful word says, continue this. A faithful word says, let divine order appear. A complaining word magnifies the appearance. A grateful word opens the channel. The declaration I have is therefore not merely positive language. It is alignment. It is the soul tuning itself to a frequency that already exists. Think of a radio signal. The music may be filling the room, though the receiver is not tuned to it. You do not say, there is no music in existence. You simply understand that the dial must be adjusted. So it is with your good. Your supply may be nearer than your breath, but your consciousness must become receptive to it. Your right answer may already be prepared, but your fear may be so loud that you cannot hear the gentle instruction. Your next step may already be placed before you, but your repeated declaration of, I do not know what to do, may be closing your inner ear. So you begin again. You say, I have divine guidance. I have my right supply. I have the wisdom I need. I have the peace that steadies me. I have the answer, and it is now revealing itself in perfect order. This is not a strain. This is not a performance. It is a return to spiritual fact. The ancient promise is that before we call, the answer is prepared. This means the answer does not begin its journey when panic begins. It is not manufactured by desperation. It does not come into being because fear has reached a certain volume. The answer belongs to the nature of divine provision. The call simply opens the channel of recognition. The decree gives form to the formless. The word gives direction to the substance. The claim prepares the mind to receive what has already been given in principle. This is why passive hope is not enough. Hope may be beautiful when it first awakens the heart, but if it remains merely hope, it becomes waiting. Passive hope says, perhaps one day. Active faith says, it is mine by divine right, and I receive it now in the way appointed by divine wisdom. Passive hope looks toward a far-off horizon. Active faith plants its feet in the present moment. Passive hope longs. Active faith claims. Passive hope says, I wish. Active faith says, I have. And the difference between these two states is the difference between standing outside the door and turning the key. Many people do not fail because their good is withheld. They fail because they never claim it. They pray, but they pray as outsiders. They ask, but they ask as though divine love were reluctant. They wait, but they wait with a hidden belief that they are not yet worthy, not yet ready, not yet chosen, not yet permitted. They wait for the world to tell them they are prosperous before they feel supplied. They wait for another person to choose them before they feel loved. They wait for symptoms to disappear before they feel whole. They wait for certainty before they take the step. But I have is your own permission spoken in your own voice. It is the soul refusing to bow before appearances. It is the child of God remembering the house of the Father. It is the heir ceasing to speak like a servant. An heir does not stand outside the estate saying, "I hope someday I may be allowed to enter." An heir enters with quiet dignity, not with arrogance, not with force, not with frantic demand, but with recognition. This belongs to me by law. I accept it. I give thanks. I have is the language of the heir. Now, we must understand the reversed sequence that keeps many spiritual seekers in the land of almost. Most people think, first, I must see it. Then, I will believe it. Then, I will say it. But spiritual law works in another order. First, I speak it. Then, I believe it more deeply. Then, I see it. The word is the seed. You do not wait for the oak tree before you trust the acorn. You plant the acorn because the oak is already hidden within it. You do not stand over the soil saying, "I will believe in this seed when I see branches." No. You plant. You water. You protect. You expect. So it is with the word I have. The declaration is planted in consciousness. Repetition waters it. Faith warms it. Gratitude protects it. Right action gives it room to grow. Then, in due season, the visible thing appears. But the visible thing was not the beginning. It was the harvest. The mistake is waiting for the mirror to smile first. Life is a mirror of consciousness. If you stand before a mirror with a solemn face and demand that the reflection smile before you move your own lips, you will wait forever. The mirror cannot move first. The reflection cannot initiate. The outer world cannot lead consciousness. The movement must begin within. Your word must move. Your faith must move. Your imagination must move. Your gratitude must move. Then the mirror responds. This does not mean you force events or control people. It does not mean you manipulate the world through anxious repetition. It means you align yourself with the good that is yours in divine order, and you cease feeding the appearance that denies it. There is also a subtler error, and it often disguises itself as humility. It is the qualified I have. It sounds like gratitude, but it is often limitation wearing a polite face. I have some money, but not enough. I have a relationship, but it is difficult and draining. I have health, except for this problem that is always with me. I have opportunities, but nothing truly right ever comes. I have peace sometimes, but it never lasts. Listen carefully to the energy of these words. They begin with possession, then quickly place a fence around it. They say to the infinite, this far and no farther. They declare partial supply. They bless the crumbs while secretly fearing the banquet. True gratitude is expansive. It does not deny the present blessing, but it does not imprison divine good within present measurements. You may begin with what is visible, but you must not end there. You may give thanks for the coin in your hand, but do not declare that the coin is the measure of your whole supply. You may give thanks for the friend who stands beside you, but do not declare that love is scarce. You may give thanks for today's strength, but do not declare that weakness rules tomorrow. Speak in a way that opens the channel. Say, I give thanks for the good I see, and for the greater good now unfolding. I have supply, and divine abundance is increasing in perfect ways. I have love, and right relationships are now drawn into my life by divine attraction. I have health in its spiritual essence, and divine order is now expressing through my body and affairs. I have peace, and that peace is becoming the atmosphere of my life. These are not sentences of denial. They are sentences of direction. They tell the subconscious mind where to look. They tell the heart what to expect. They tell the invisible substance what form is being welcomed. And they tell fear that it is no longer the prophet of your life. Then there is the waiting trap. This trap catches the sincere ones, the ones who pray, the ones who affirm, the ones who meditate, the ones who study, listen, journal, visualize, and try to live faithfully. They do many things well, yet they keep speaking of their good as though it were always on the way and never here. They say, "My ship is coming in." But if the ship is coming in, it is still at sea. And if it is still at sea, it is not yet at the dock. And if it is not at the dock, the treasure is not being unloaded. This is future tense living. It keeps the good moving toward you without ever allowing it to arrive. It keeps you always becoming and never being, always approaching and never receiving, always waiting and never claiming. The words "I have" collapse the distance. They destroy the tyranny of someday. They bring the far-off good into the present field of acceptance. They change "it is coming" into "it is established." They change "I hope" into "I receive." They change "I am waiting" into "I give thanks now." The present moment is the only place where creative power can operate. The divine is not trapped in yesterday's regret or tomorrow's anxiety. The divine is the living now. When your speech enters the now, your consciousness enters power. When you say, "I have," you plug your life into the central current of spiritual law. Understand this clearly. Your repeated words become your atmosphere. If you continually say, "I want," you train yourself to remain in wanting. If you continually say, "I need," you train yourself to remain in need. If you continually say, "I am waiting," you train yourself to remain in delay. The invisible responds to the state you occupy. "I want" creates more wanting. "I am afraid" creates more images of fear. "I never have enough" organizes perception around insufficiency. But "I have" begins a new order. I have divine supply. I have right direction. I have peace. I have wisdom. I have the next step. I have the favor of divine order. These words begin to educate the mind out of lack. They begin to cleanse the imagination. They begin to restore the dignity of the soul. Now, for those who need a practical anchor, this teaching is not merely mystical poetry. It also touches the deep workings of the mind. Your subconscious mind is not a critic. It is a servant. It accepts repeated impressions. It listens to what you say with feeling. It does not pause to argue. Is this reasonable? Is this verified? Is this supported by current circumstances? It receives the pattern and begins to organize perception, emotion, energy, and action around it. If you repeatedly declare, "I am unsafe," the subconscious will scan the world for danger. If you repeatedly declare, "I am unsupported," it will overlook support. If you repeatedly declare, "I never know what to do," it will dull your confidence and make guidance seem distant. But when you begin to speak, "I have divine guidance," the subconscious begins to expect guidance. When you say, "I have right opportunities," it begins to notice openings. When you say, "I have supply," it becomes less hypnotized by lack and more alert to provision. Identity shapes behavior long before outer results change. A person who knows, "I have security," walks differently from one who says, "I am trying desperately to get secure." A person who knows, "I have love," does not beg for crumbs of affection. A person who knows, "I have guidance," does not collapse at every crossroads. A person who knows, "I have supply," can meet a temporary bill delay, or surprise, with steadiness instead of panic. The state of having changes the nervous system. It moves the body from the alarm of lack into the receptivity of trust. It changes posture. It changes tone. It changes choices. It changes what you notice. It changes what you tolerate. It changes the kind of action you take. And as your inner state changes, your outer world begins to rearrange itself around the new command. This is why gratitude in advance is so powerful. Gratitude is not merely good manners toward heaven. Gratitude is a creative state. It is the emotional equivalent of I have. When you give thanks before the visible evidence arrives, you are training the whole being to recognize the invisible fact. You are saying, I trust the source more than I fear the appearance. You are saying, I know divine order is working even before my eyes can trace its path. You are saying, I receive in consciousness before I receive in form. And this gratitude quiets the fear body. It lowers the inner alarm. It softens resistance. It opens the mind to instruction. It makes you available to intuition. For many answers do not arrive as thunder. They arrive as a gentle nudge. Call this person. Open this letter. Take this road. Send this message. Rest today. Prepare that room. Apply again. Forgive that resentment. Stop repeating that story. Say yes here. Say no there. I have does not replace right action. It prepares you for right action. It clears the fog so you can hear the instruction. It changes the question from, how can I force this to happen, to, what is the divinely appointed step before me now? And that is a holy change. Preparation is one of the highest forms of faith. When you have asked for rain, prepare the field. When you have asked for a new position, prepare your mind, your clothing, your calendar. When you have asked for love, prepare your heart, your home, your speech, your capacity to receive and give. When you have asked for healing, prepare your thoughts to bless the body instead of accusing it. When you have asked for prosperity, prepare to circulate wisely, receive gracefully, and give joyfully. Preparation is the body saying, I have. It is faith made visible in small acts. It is not pretending. It is aligning. A person who truly expects a guest prepares a chair. A person who truly expects a harvest prepares baskets. A person who truly expects a message keeps the line open. So you may ask yourself gently, if I had already received my answer in consciousness, how would I prepare today? Would I clear a drawer? Would I write the proposal? Would I forgive someone? Would I stop speaking against my own good? Would I organize my desk? Would I buy the small symbol that says to my subconscious, this new life has room to enter? Would I rest, not from defeat, but from trust? The action need not be grand. Often the action is simple. The soul loves simple obedience. A flower on the table, a clean page in a notebook, a phone call made with courage, a bill blessed instead of cursed, a drawer cleared, a résumé sent, a doctor's appointment kept, a walk taken, a prayer spoken without begging, a sentence repeated with conviction. I have divine order in this situation now. This brings us to the practical practice of I have. There are 3 levels, and each has its right place. The first level is the full possession declaration. This is for the moment when your spirit is strong enough to speak boldly without inner collapse. It is for the hour when your faith rises, your breath steadies, and the words feel like a royal garment placed upon your shoulders. Then you speak as one who knows. Say, I have divine supply flowing to me now, through expected and unexpected channels. I have the love, the health, the peace, and the abundance that belong to me by divine right. I have everything I need for this day. And more good is already unfolding in perfect order. I have wisdom for every decision. I have protection on every path. I have favor where my name is spoken. I have the right people, the right opportunities, the right ideas, and the right timing. Speak these words as established truths, not as a wish, not as a plea, not as a bargain. Speak them as facts recorded in the spiritual ledger of your life. Say them before a mirror. Say them while walking. Say them quietly before sleep. Say them when fear tries to enter. Let the words, "I have," become familiar to your mouth. Let them become natural to your breath. Let them vibrate through your bones until lack begins to feel like the stranger and abundance begins to feel like home. The second level is the gratitude bridge. This is sacred because there will be days when the full declaration feels too far for the frightened mind. There will be days when the numbers seem loud. There will be days when grief is near. There will be days when the heart cannot honestly say, "I have the visible thing," without tightening in resistance. In those moments, do not force. Force creates conflict. Conflict creates resistance. Instead, cross the gratitude bridge. The gratitude bridge allows you to claim invisible supply without fighting the physical senses. You say, "I give thanks that my supply is already established in the invisible and is now moving into visible form. I give thanks that I have divine guidance leading me to my right answer. I give thanks that I have more than enough in divine mind, even before my physical eyes behold it. I give thanks that divine order is now arranging every detail. I give thanks that the way is being made clear before me. I give thanks that my good cannot be lost, delayed, or taken from me when I stand in faith." Feel the difference. You are not trying to convince yourself that the bank account says what it does not say. You are acknowledging the source behind the bank account. You are not denying that the chair appears empty. You are giving thanks that divine love knows how to bring right companionship in right timing. You are not denying that the body is asking for care. You are giving thanks that divine life is present in every cell, guiding you to right treatment, right rest, right thought, and right restoration. This is spiritual accounting. It is seeing from the level where all visible things begin. The third level is the daily "I have" inventory. This is how you build the muscle of possession. We have been trained to notice what is missing. We can walk through a garden and find the one flower that has wilted. We can receive 10 blessings and speak only of the one unanswered prayer. We can survive 100 difficult days and still doubt that we are supported. So we must train the mind again. Each morning, before you rise, or each night before you sleep, speak 10 "I have" statements that are undeniably true. Say them slowly. Let them be simple. Let them be real. I have breath in my lungs. I have a mind that can receive truth. I have survived every difficult day I have ever faced. I have access to divine wisdom now. I have the ability to speak a new word. I have something to bless. I have something to learn. I have strength for this moment. I have a place in divine order. I have the presence of God within me and around me. Then, after naming the visible good, add one invisible claim. I have the perfect solution to the challenge before me. I have the abundance now manifesting in my experience. I have the right answer, and it is revealing itself. I have divine order working in every detail of my life. This practice stretches consciousness. It moves the mind gently from the small, visible good to the great, invisible good. It teaches the subconscious that abundance is not an exception. Abundance is the atmosphere of divine life. The more you practice, the less strange faith becomes. Eventually, "I have" no longer feels like a bold spiritual exercise. It feels like the truth. The great spiritual teachers did not speak of abundance as a far-off reward. They spoke of it as a birthright to be recognized, claimed, and expressed. Florence Scovel Shinn taught with a rare combination of simplicity and authority. Her message was not heavy. It was bright, practical, direct, and filled with the conviction that divine law responds to the spoken word. She did not treat prayer as a desperate begging at a closed door. She treated it as an alignment with an already open channel. She understood that vague words produce vague results. Someday is not a command. Maybe is not a command. I hope is not a command. The spiritual law responds to definiteness, faith, gratitude, and right expectation. When a person came burdened by financial fear, the answer was not to worship the fear, repeat the lack, and build a shrine to the problem. The answer was to turn to divine supply, to give thanks for right provision, to claim the amount, the opportunity, the opening, the solution. In faith, not to dictate anxiously how every step must occur, but to know that divine intelligence has channels beyond the limited human imagination. This is where many people make another mistake. They claim the good, then immediately begin telling God how it must come. They say, "It must be through this person. It must be by Friday at noon. It must come through this company. It must look exactly like this." But divine intelligence sees paths that the human mind has not considered. The supply may come through a forgotten debt repaid, an unexpected offer, a new idea, a sudden cancellation that becomes a blessing, a conversation overheard at the right time, a door you did not even know existed, an inner prompting that seems small but leads to the exact answer. Therefore, the declaration, "I have," must be joined with surrender. Not weak surrender, not defeated surrender, but radiant surrender. I have my good now, and I allow divine intelligence to bring it forth in the right way, at the right time, through the right channel. This is faith without strain. This is claiming without gripping. This is expectancy without anxiety. It is the royal way. You are not pretending. You are participating in creation. You are speaking the invisible into the visible. You are giving spiritual substance a form to fill. Every word spoken with conviction becomes a mold. If the mold is fear, life fills it with more reasons to fear. If the mold is lack, life fills it with more evidence of lack. If the mold is resentment, life fills it with more arguments. But if the mold is divine order, supply, peace, and right action, then life begins to pour new substance into that mold. This is why you must guard your speech. Do not plant corn and then dig it up every hour to see whether it is growing. Do not declare, "I have" in the morning, and then spend the afternoon saying, "Nothing ever works for me." Do not bless your supply in prayer and curse your bills at the table. Do not claim love and then rehearse abandonment. Do not claim guidance and then announce that you never know what to do. This does not mean you must become tense about every word. It means you become awake. If you speak fear, correct it. If you speak lack, bless it and redirect it. If you complain, pause and choose again. Say, "I cancel that word of fear. It has no power. I now speak the word of faith. I please too. I bless this situation and call forth divine order. I have the answer. I have the supply. I have the peace. I have the right action revealed to me now." Your word is a shepherd. It leads your thoughts. It gathers your scattered energy. It brings the mind home. Now let us practice together. Not later. Not after the video. Not when the evidence changes. Now, for the present moment, is the altar. Straighten your spine. Let the shoulders soften. Let the body remember its dignity. Take a slow breath in. Release it gently. Feel the ground beneath you. You are not reaching for something far away. You are recognizing what is already established in divine substance. Let these words move through you, either aloud or in the quiet sanctuary of your heart. For supply, I have divine supply. It flows to me now through seen and unseen channels. It has never truly been withheld from me. It is established in the invisible, and it is now appearing in my visible experience in perfect order. I give thanks that every need is met, every right desire is supplied, and every door appointed by divine intelligence is opened before me for love and connection. I have love in my life. Divine love surrounds me, fills me, guides me, and draws to me the right people, the right friendships, the right companions, and the right connections. I do not beg for love. I radiate love. I receive love. I have belonging. I have peace. I have my right place in the circle of divine affection. For peace and well-being, I have peace that is deeper than appearances. I have divine life moving through my mind, body, and affairs. I have strength for this day. I have wisdom for each step. I have rest where there has been strain, order where there has been confusion, and light where there has been fear. For guidance, I have divine guidance. I am not lost. I am not abandoned to chance. Divine intelligence knows the way and reveals it to me clearly. I hear the inner instruction. I recognize the right sign. I take the right action at the right time. The way is made clear before me. For the bold claim, I have what I have been praying for in its right and perfect form. It is already recorded in the invisible ledger of divine fulfillment. I give thanks before I see it, because faith sees first. I receive now. I trust now. I stand now in the consciousness of having. Pause. Do not rush away from the feeling. Notice the stillness beneath the words. Notice the lessening of urgency. Notice that something in you has stopped reaching and started receiving. That quiet steadiness is not imagination. It is the atmosphere of faith. It is the state of already having entering the mind, softening the body, and commanding the emotions to come into divine order. This is the state you must protect, for there will be a testing time. You may finish this teaching and return to the same room, the same phone, the same numbers, the same silence, the same outer appearance. The old mind will be waiting at the door. It may say, "See? Nothing changed." It may say, "You were pretending." It may say, "You do not have it." This is the important hour. Do not be deceived by the testing time. The period between the claim and the manifestation is not failure. It is not absence. It is not divine refusal. It is the interval in which invisible substance is arranging itself into visible form. Think of ordering a meal in a fine restaurant. You place the order. You do not see the food immediately. You do not run into the kitchen every minute to accuse the chef. You do not cancel the order, because the plate is not instantly in your hand. You remain seated. You trust the kitchen. You know preparation is occurring beyond your sight. So it is with divine supply. Once you have spoken the word in faith, do not run anxiously into the invisible kitchen. Do not keep digging up the seed. Do not keep canceling the order with fear. Remain in the state of one who has received. Say, "I have. I give thanks. Divine order is working now." Watch the world, but do not watch it desperately. Observe, but do not tremble. Act when guided, but do not force. Prepare, but do not panic. Give thanks, but do not demand signs every hour. The feast is being prepared. The delivery is being arranged. The channel is being opened. The person is being moved. The idea is being formed. The timing is being harmonized. Do not cancel your order. Stay at the table. Your good knows the way to you when you remain in faith. You came to this teaching because some part of you has grown tired of waiting. Not patient waiting, not peaceful expectancy, but the old waiting that is really fear in a quiet costume. You have seen that hoping, when it never becomes claiming, can become a slow way of staying where you are. You have seen that describing the problem in perfect detail does not necessarily build the solution. It often only strengthens the image you are ready to outgrow. Today, you received another word, not a plea, not a wish, not a someday, a claim. I have. These two words plant a flag in the invisible. They say, "My good exists." They say, "My supply is established." They say, "My answer is prepared." They say, "My life is not governed by appearances, but by divine order." Hold them gently. Hold them firmly. Do not let the shadows of the world talk you out of your inheritance. When the bill appears, say, "I have divine supply." When the silence appears, say, "I have right connection." When confusion appears, say, "I have divine guidance." When fear appears, say, I have peace. When delay appears, say, I have divine timing working for me now. And then take the next right step. Faith is not passive. Faith listens. Faith prepares. Faith speaks. Faith acts. Faith gives thanks. Faith refuses to make lack its God. If I am is your identity, then I have is your supply. And when these two declarations are joined, a new strength rises in you. I am a child of divine intelligence. I have all that is mine by divine right. I am guided. I have the way. I am supplied. I have the answer. I am loved. I have my right place. Let these words become your inner climate. Let them move with you through the day. Let them stand guard at the door of your speech. Let them correct the old habit of fear. Let them train your subconscious mind to expect good. Let them teach your heart to rest. Let them remind your body that it is held in divine order. And let gratitude seal the claim. For gratitude is the golden seal on the spoken word. Before you see it, give thanks. Before the door opens, give thanks. Before the call comes, give thanks. Before the number changes, give thanks. Before the sign appears, give thanks. Not because you are pretending, because you are recognizing the invisible precedes the visible. The seed precedes the harvest. The word precedes the form. The claim precedes the evidence. And divine order is working even now. So, before you go back into the visible world, take one bold step of faith. Write your declaration. Do not write, I want. Do not write, I hope. Do not write, maybe one day. Write, I have. Let your own word hear your own authority. You may declare, I have divine supply. I have my perfect answer. I have peace in this situation. I have love, guidance, and right action. Or write this declaration, I speak the word of faith, and divine order now opens my way. Let it be simple. Let it be clear. Let it be spoken from the soul that remembers. You are not broken. You are not forgotten. You are not outside the circle of good. You are remembering who you are. You are remembering the power of your word. You are remembering that abundance is not a distant prize, but a spiritual law. Speak with faith. Walk with dignity. Prepare with joy. Give thanks in advance. And whenever the world asks for proof before you are allowed to believe, answer calmly from the higher law. I have. Divine order now governs every part of my life. My words are filled with power and peace. The way is made clear before me. I speak the word of faith, and so it is.